Okay, welcome back to another Beard Invades. This week I'm with the one and only Andy Birkey. How you doing, Andy?
Hello. How are you?
Brilliant. I
Nice.
was really excited to get you on.
Good luck surviving this.
Cool. Okay, so what we do is it's the same set of questions for everybody I ask. Let's kick off. So give us a little bit about you that no one really knows. Just brief sort of about you.
Hui. Well, I'm 35 years a maker, 36 this year actually, for a living, and I come at it from a carpentry background. That's what my training is, and I've worked all over the hemisphere, and went to school in northern England for a bit when I was a kid. And so I try to see myself as a global citizen and try not to do harm.
Good, excellent. That's great.
I spent too many years causing harm and mayhem, so I got on a karmic level. I've got to sort things out.
yeah. I see what you mean there. Right. So, why YouTube? What made you record that very first video?
I was drug into it, kicking and screaming.
Right.
No, David Welder, who used to work with Jimmy DiResta, told me, you gotta do it. And it was very odd because when I first was introduced into the maker community, I was, I'm 57 years old now. So I was doing that middle-age slide into kind of being, kids these days type of mentality.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize I was doing it, which was weird, right? But the maker community kind of showed me that wasn't cool, and that the real enjoyment that I had kind of lost was just making and being a 12-year-old, and being curious. And so there was this sort of personal renaissance that I completely owe to the maker community. And what few videos and Instagram things that I do, they're a way of trying my effort to pay back to the community, because the way I see it, it's I owe you guys a lot, and I'm doing whatever I can do to repay that debt.
Yeah, it certainly is a great community. I had no idea that this sort of community was out there, to be honest.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Okay, so
Sorry, I was always that weird kid. Well, I always thought I was that one weird kid with the big head and the bald and crooked nose and all that stuff. All that stuff that you think about yourself, and you feel like you see the world different. So that I hid it historically, my perspective, and all of a sudden there's a place where I can just be me, and people are not only going, "Wow, you're weird," but they're going, "Whoa, you're weird." Yay, and so that to me is the beauty of it. And I just, again, it's a debt that I am hard to repay.
Yeah. Okay, so next question. Now this is a weird one. I never really know how to ask this.
Oh, no.
Inspirations. No, it's not bad. Inspirations. So was that a person, or was they a process or something that happened that inspires what you do, what you've become?
Yeah, architecture does that for me. Most of my work has a heavy architectural bent to it, and specifically neo-Gothic is something that I've kind of fell into. But to me, I can go to Chicago, or better yet, Europe or the UK, and just be completely lost in the detail of architectural styles. And it can be everything from full Gothic to, arts and crafts, which, it can be pretty simple, but it's the detailing that I can just be totally tripping on, like, I'm on drugs. Mm-hmm. My wife hates to walk down a city street with me because I'm constantly, bumping into people or parking meters or something because I have my head, 20 stories above us. So to me, that's really anything that's pre-World War II to me is just, I love it. And I love some of the, I do like some of the stuff, mid-century modern and all that kind of stuff. Design, proper design to me is so cool. It's one of the things I think that really sets Laura Comp apart from a lot of makers is her design sense is just brilliant.
Definitely. I totally agree. Yeah. Okay. So shall we have a little tour of your space there?
Yeah. Check it out.
Okay.
So you've probably seen a lot of this on my Instagram stories, but let's see. Here's the door.
Right.
This is a church altarpiece that's gold leafed in Mexico, and I put this on my door. So if ever I found this in a dumpster, and if I ever think that I'm pretty cool as I'm having a good day in the shop, I catch this on my way out, and I realize that I still suck.
It just brings you back down again.
Yeah. The humbler, I call it.
Yeah.
So because I cut my teeth on on-site carpentry work, my shop is not set up very formally. Most of my tools are pretty mundane, you can get off the shelf because a couple of reasons. One is portability. I have done full kitchens, on site, just with masons walking through the place with bricks and stuff. I've done that. I've rebuilt windows, on a lawn, and then of course, if I do a church work, you can be there for 2.5 years. So, the heart of my shop is my 1.5 horse contractor saw, not a real big heavy duty saw, but I've had it. I think I bought this in 1994, and it's had 3 or 4 motors on it that I've blown out and replaced. So it's just an old workhorse, and at some point I probably should replace it, but I probably won't. So a splurge that I do have is the Festool vacuum system, which because I have breathed. Well, I don't know what that's called. I've sucked in so much wood dust. I have to be a little more careful nowadays. So I do have the shaper here, which is a handheld CNC that I'm getting used to using. I love it, but it's been fun. I was able to do some user interface testing before that hit the open market for a couple of months and work with their development team. And that was a lot of fun. So I still have some good friends at that company, and they're good cats. So, the shop changes depending on what I'm working on. The thing that I've been working on is a couple of chairs that will have this Gothic design in it. So that's what I'm in the middle of right now. So there's bits and pieces everywhere. I made a promise to my wife that she could get her car in every night. So when I'm in a big project, she's cool and lets me keep it out for a couple of months or whatever. But I pushed it quite a while this winter, so she's in now. So chop box is, you know, I like this one. It's a dual bevel, so that I can go all sorts of different directions with it. Good fun. And then I won't bore you. It's just, you know, it's just a lot. Everything's mobile in this half of the shop, so that when she leaves her car in the morning, I can expand the shop to two cars, and then bring it all back right before she gets home. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Joiner and dust collection and all that kind of rubbish. And then of course, big man.
Yeah. I like that.
So
that's cool.
Seymour in the shop. That was done with a CNC machine upside down. If you've ever seen that video.
That's cut out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
So I use the Shaper Origin to do that. And I have a video on my channel pulling that one off. That was kind of nuts. As a matter of fact, I don't know if the company liked it that much, because I'm not sure they wanted people trying it. But so this is Dead Man Running. He's right above my table saw. He kind of reminds me that you know, we're all living on borrowed time, but you got to go like hell.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like it.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, you know, to me, the shop is a sacred space, but on the other hand, it's got to be, for me, it's got to be full utility, because back in the day before the downturn in 2008, I had a great big shop and employees and all that rubbish, and I was incredibly unhappy. And in this small shop with these non-romantic tools, I'm as happy as I've ever been. So, you know, that's what it's about to me.
Definitely. Okay, well, thanks for that. That was a nice tour. It's a nice size as well. Nice size shop. It's
tidy. It's very tidy, and it's you know, about 15 steps from my back door, which makes it pretty nice. You know, and especially, you know, weird times like this, you know, nothing changes much. So,
well, if you could imagine having to travel, you know, 10 miles down the road to your shop, I mean, what's going on now, it would be pretty difficult if we go on total lockdown.
Right.
You know?
Well, and the nice thing for me is this is not only where I make my living, but it's also where I do what I consider my mad scientist work, my stuff I just do for fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, I can be out here at 2:00 in the morning, and the neighbors, they all keep an eye on things, and the cops that run the beat around here, they all know. And so, you know, it's not unusual if I have something going on at 2:00, and, you know, the beat cops will drive by and stop in and say hi. And, you know, it's pretty cool. I know a lot of people have issues with their neighbors. Mine are just wicked cool, and I try to take care of them as much as I can, and they put up with loud noises. And
that's like, you know, it does help to have good neighbors. I've got great neighbors, both sides of me, you know. Okay, so we'll move on. Maker Central, are you going to try and make it over?
This year I probably will not. Just because we have some caregiving issues that have, you know, kind of exploded this year. But I am fully intending on 2021.
Okay.
So
that'd be good.
Yeah. That's a big goal for me.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've touched on the project that you're working on at the moment, the chair. How's that going? Are you filming that, are you?
No, I'm not. No, that one, you know, the neo-Gothic stuff is so intense math-wise that I'm a big believer in, I don't know if you're up to speed on flow state psychology. It's trying to drop yourself into a different level of comprehension and observation. So to try to get to that weird level that is like hyper creative and hyper productive for me, to move a camera around and to think about making a video. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it would affect you, what you're working on as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm really pushing it to pull off a lot of this stuff. I'm pulling out every trick in the book as far as my skill set. I don't know what I'm doing, so I just I'm guessing and doing math and using compasses and divider points and all that stuff, and I'm all over the place.
I'll tell you what. Some of the stuff I've seen on your Instagram, it's just unreal. The time and energy that goes into some so detailed. Like, what were those? I think it was something you was doing for a church recently, where it had like spires.
Yeah.
And there was yellow inside, was it, or something like that?
Yeah, the gold leaf. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Absolutely
gorgeous.
Thanks, man. Well, I've often said that that kind of work is more about tenacity than talent. So you try to. I can't do that kind of work all the time because I get weird and it's hard for me to relate to my wife and society in general.
So it totally absorbs you.
Yeah. And I'm not messing about. It's I get weird, and because the most of that work is very layered. So you are thinking 3 or 4 layers in, and then what you have to do as you think your way back out of it. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So, and you don't stop doing that when you leave the shop. I don't stop doing that when I leave the shop. So I've got to be careful and really try to leave it in here, but it's very difficult.
Yeah. Okay, so a question I always ask everybody, is there a tool that you hate and a tool that you love?
Tool that I hate? No, I don't think so, because, tools are tools. They're for a specific purpose. I have tools that I don't use often, but they're very useful when I use them. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the kind of open grinders that people. People dig them and they do it, but I don't do a lot of metal work. So, but my favorite would probably have to be either the table saw or the chop box, because that's mother's milk to me. I live in a weird world of very obtuse angles and all that, and I love that I can take a half a degree off of a 120 degree bevel. And to be able to have that kind of a relationship with the saw, where I would have a harder time describing that than actually making the cut. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So, I don't mean that in a egotistical way, but that's just the relationship that's developed over 35 years.
Yeah, certainly. Okay. So, well, I don't even know why. I'll ask this question anyway, but direction of your YouTube channel, where do you hope that to be within 12 months? I know it's going to be hard for you because, you're mainly, you're a maker, but it's your business, YouTube isn't your business. So.
Yeah, but I would, I've said this before, but I would like to get more content out, because I'm always humbled by the reaction that it gets. Because most of the content that I put out now, which is mainly Instagram, I just try to be real, and try to be straight up. I think a lot of people, if they view you as a craftsman or master craftsman or whatever they, pedestal they want to put you on, I think there's this idea that, you just go out and crush it every day, auto style. And for me, that's just not true. I struggle, and I'm just trying to put that out there because I think it kind of wipes away a little the mysticism of it. I'm not freaking Harry Potter here. I'm just struggling and experimenting, and then hopefully the magic happens after all that.
Definitely.
So I guess to answer the question, I would like to put out some more YouTube content, and it'll be it would be along that vein of I just want to show that the struggle is there, but it's okay because that's part of the deal. It's failure is part of the process, right? And
yeah,
there it is.
I say it to my scouts all the time. You've got to fail to learn your mistakes to make it better next time.
Yeah, and I think in today's world we've kind of have come up with this thing that you can't fail, and I was very much into that for a lot of years, but screw it, let's screw up.
Yeah. Okay, just a couple more now. So when you're making your videos, what camera equipment do you use and software?
I have a little Nikon L820, which is just a fixed lens. I actually was tripping through a big box store, and they had this little 35 millimeter, or not 35 millimeter, but DSLR camera.
Yeah.
For like $25 because everybody had their paws on it for 6 months.
Right.
And so I said, let me grab that. And so it's been a magical little camera. And so I can't. The nice part about it is, especially when I'm in a mode, I trip over things. So I'm really hesitant to bring a proper DSLR out here because I'm not tidy and I'm not, I'm not careful. So yeah, I just shoot on that typically, and it's probably not cinematic quality, but it works for me. And then, yeah. And it's indestructible little camera. I throw it in my van, and it rides in the van a lot of the times, and it's crazy indestructible. And I bought it for like $25. So
yeah, that's good.
And then I just added on Filmora, which is, as a matter of fact, one of my goals for the next month or so is they've just released a new Filmora 9, and I need to get over a little mental hurdle that I had with that when it first came out, and right. Dive into it and sort it out again.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Okay. So I kind of gave you a hint that I was going to ask this question earlier on. So do you have a shout out that you'd like to share? And I'll put the link to your shout out. I mean, it can be more than one. I'll put the link in the description so people can head over and give them the support.
For YouTube or in general?
In general. It could be a website, it could be YouTube, it could be Instagram, whatever you like.
Well, like I've said on different podcasts and things, I go from one extreme to the next. I love the pure creatives, and then I love the people that just technically have crazy skills. On a creative level and an artistic level, I really dig Karoline Hinz work at Prop Shop Berlin. She does some unbelievable sculptural work, which scares the living daylights out of me. And I really admire, and, she works alone, and just the tenacity of her, she struggles like I do. And, all of us, like a lot of us do, but, when you're a small shop and you're alone, a lot of the times I respect, that tenacity of the grind of getting after it and producing just brilliant work. So that's one end of the spectrum. And then on the other end, it's all over the place, but I'm really digging some of the work that Brett McAfee is doing, especially on a cinematic level. So the quality, and Giaco is doing some of this now too, where the grade of the skills of the editing and all of that is, I learn a lot just from watching that. And then when you see stuff in those guys' skill level, then you start seeing stuff in, things that you're seeing on TV. So it makes you more observant, right? It makes you more aware of, oh, that's a jump cut. I see what they did there, or whatever, to make your filming more interesting. I've got one more thing for you.
Yep.
Here's a concept for you. Maker fluency. I'm working on this idea that the more skill sets that you have as a maker, make it progressively easier to pick up another one. So there are overlapping concepts, observations, physical touching, all of that stuff that you grab and glom onto as a maker, as a skill, right? Those bleed over into your next one. So I've coined this term of maker fluency, and I just want to encourage people that do that. Push yourself into a next skill, another one, because the bleed over is brilliant fun to you step back and go, wow, oh yeah, that's just like X, Y, or Z, right? So that's all right. That's kind of fun stuff.
My wife, for many years now, she's always said this about me, that I have fads, and she doesn't mean it in a disrespectful way. And this is why my YouTube channel isn't called The Beard Does Wood Turning, or because I have so many interests. I paint, I do sculpturing. I'm learning that now. Wood turning, metalwork. I do so much, and I know exactly what you mean by moving on to the next thing and overlapping, and it just you learn a little bit about everything.
Completely.
Yeah.
I mean, where this really hit me like a brick was when I found an old Swiss sewing machine about a year ago, and I've always wanted to sew stuff, but I thought it was. I did that even as a kid, like a 14-year-old kid. But I thought, people would make fun of me for, being a wussy or whatever. So I found this old machine and it said, screw it, I'm doing it. Right. And the ladies, when I walked into, I took a 6 weeks class, a couple hours a week. And they were like, oh yeah, you woodworkers. Yep. You'll be fine in here. And they were right. Just because even measuring, easy peasy. Angles. It's the same math and the same headspace and the same tactile involvement.
The same planning.
Exactly. The organization. So to me, that's the really fun part. I have no desire to be a woodworker. That is my main thing. That's how I make a living. It's the material that I'm most comfortable with, but I love being uncomfortable. So, what's next?
Yeah, that's it, totally. Oh, God. Oh well, I've enjoyed this. Thanks a bunch.
Heck yeah, man!
And I think everyone's going to enjoy this little tour into Andy Birkey's mind. Oh God!
Good luck getting back out.
Yeah, that'd be like going into mine. So, thanks everyone that's going to be watching this now. If for some strange reason you don't know who Andy Birkey is, I'll leave a link to his channel. Make sure you go down there and you check him out. And also the other guys that Andy shouted out, I'll leave all their links below as well. Head over and check those. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.